Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bubby Brister and Friends Fantasy Football Podcast presented by Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Bubby is at his kid's hockey game, so I'm here with Nick. Nick, the Saints fired head coach Dennis Allen this week. The Saints were at a clear crossroads after Sean Payton and Drew Brees left. So they had two ways to go, either try and piece it together or go full rebuild. Do you think they made the right decision with their piece it together?
So, Dennis Allen, I'm sorry this happened to you. Because this is Sean Payton and the GM's fault from 4 years ago. This is exactly what this is. And he's a scapegoat because they have no money for free agents. And their most expensive players are all like 30 plus.
The GM, Mickey Loomis, he's in his 23rd season. So he created this cap mess for himself. They are $60 million over next year's cap. And that's before they cut Derek Carr and add his dead money to that total. And $60 million is by far the most of all the teams. And so that's going to screw up any rebuild that they can embark on.
They dumped off Marcus Lattimore to the Commanders. So, I mean, if they got rid of that cap, he's kind of washed. But, I mean, a lot of these these Saints players are washed. And they kicked the can down the road, praying Drew Brees and everything else. And then they re-upped Kamara to try to save some money. But Kamara's money's going to hit like 2 years from now because they're going to make it
he's 30
this year.
Too.
Yeah, he's 30. They're going to be paying him. He needs to be fired. That's the problem. He needs to be retired. He needs to be fired. And then the question is, what head coach wants this job next year? Because you're taking over, like, who? Like, you get another first-time coach. He has no good pieces around him. His quarterback is going to be Radler or whoever off the trash heap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they got to pay Taysom Hill to not quarterback, really, to be a gadget man. It's bad.
At this point, they should probably just play Taysom Hill at quarterback. Derek Carr is 70. Where's it at? 74 and 91 as a starting quarterback. He's put up some nice numbers if you look at his Pro Football Reference page, but it's just all empty calories. He's never come close to winning anything. There was 1 year he was 12-3, but then there was 2 years where he's like 500, and the rest is all just garbage. And he's in his 11th season, so the results are in on him being a winner or not. And then Dennis Allen was just such an uninspired hire I understand he was a coordinator under Sean Payton, and like I said, they had two ways to go, either full rebuild or try and piece it together. So they went the piece it together route, and they hired Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen was 8-30 in 38 games as the Raiders head coach from 2012 to 2014, and he went 7-10 in his first season in 2022, 9-8 in 2023, so not bad. And then they started out 2-0 this season, and they look good, and it's just wheels are off now. They are probably the worst team in the league.
They got decimated by
Panthers
injuries.
have more hope than them.
Their injuries really decimated them. They lost both. At one time, they lost both their starter receivers. Their starting quarterback goes down. Their center went down. I think their left guard's gone, or right guard. One of their guards are gone, or tackles. One of them are gone. So they're just losing on pieces. The defense is old and slow, so they can't get to the quarterback at all. And take it that them 2 wins, they play against a bad Dallas team. Dallas is bad. So
real bad.
That's right, real bad. So that's one of their wins right there. So it really tells you something that what they're capable of doing. But it's I'm here for it because the GM needs to be fired. But like I said, Dennis Allen, back to the original question, I think him having that job was a scapegoat of the idea that GM's like, I know I can't hire a quality person to come here with this dead cap. We're so over cap. There's no free agents that could bring in. Like what was I don't have this answer. What would be the last major free agent they brought on that team? And I think it'd probably be the Honey Badger, maybe. But I mean,
it's
Derek
former
Carr?
Commander Chase Young. Chase Young, 1 year, $13 million, and they couldn't even trade him at the deadline with an expiring contract.
You know what I mean? And he's done nothing this year.
He's a quitter.
He is a quitter. He is. He's all talent. He reminds me a lot of the guy that he played. He was a defensive end for Michigan, and then he got drafted like top for like the Texans or something. He's been bounced around now. You know what I'm talking about?
Jadeveon Clowney?
Yes, very much like that.
Yeah, he went to South Carolina.
There you go, South Carolina. Sorry, yeah, he hit that hit on the guy in Michigan, but no, it just hasn't. He has all the talent, just he's not making it click, man. Not making it click.
You could tell he doesn't work hard. Like it just came easy to him, and
yeah, now you have to work hard. He's like, I don't want to do it.
When the Commanders give up on you, you're in a bad spot.
I don't know, because the other defensive end the Commanders gave up on, they traded him off. You know what I mean? He's pretty good in Chicago.
That was kind of different though, because they kind of sold high on Montez Sweat, where the Chase Young they were just like, just give us anything.
I think y'all should have kept Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat was like a bad trade, because Montez Sweat because I was like when y'all drafted him, that was an awesome draft pick. He was like a second round draft pick, like pick 50 something, and it was like high risk but high reward because he had a heart issue when he got drafted. That's why his stock dropped. But he had the production, he had the motor, and it's like all right, and he showed out, and it's like this is great. And he gives you 4 or 5 productive years of like at defensive end. That's worth the second round draft pick.
I like every move they've made pretty much in the last year and a half, the Commanders. So I like the thought of keeping Montez Sweat. If they would have traded Jonathan Allen or Daron Payne, or kept Montez Sweat, then yeah, that'd be probably better than trading Sweat, because Allen is now hurt.
Right, you could at least
they had to trade one of those 3.
Yeah, you could trade one of your defensive ends, because not defensive ends, D tackles. Your D tackles are studs, so one of them could go.
Just linemen.
And just keep your defensive end. Keep getting to the quarterback. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into these box scores. This is not like last week where we had a bunch of close games. The closest game this week was 14 points, I think. Yeah, there's a bunch of blowouts this week. I was trying to look up the matchup recap. I kind of like that they do that. That little message they give us in the chat each week.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
But there's nothing exciting there. There's nothing that we can't find on our own digging through these scores. So we'll start with the Punishers at Fantasy Football Team. This was a 158-140 game. I lost. Punishers win. Punishers go to 7-2, keep the tie for first place. I fall to 5-4. I had the misfortune of Brian Robinson not being ready. He tried to work his hamstring out pregame against the Giants, and you could see video on social media of him doing, the little like 10-yard sprint and then just basically going in like the hands on the knees throw up motion. And when that video came out, I was like, okay, he's not playing today. So I played Tyler Algier, and Tyler Algier only got 18 yards on 6 carries, 3 yards a carry, but he did fall in the end zone. So 9 points from a guy I had to like pull out of my ass. This was his first week on my roster. I mean, I'll take that in a pinch, but it wasn't enough. I had a path to victory. I tried not using a head coach, but it became apparent to me I was going to have to use a head coach after the late games. Hines players were all done at 1 o'clock, so that was nice. And he got 158, because I get 150 dropped on me every single week. It's death, taxes, and Billy's opponent scoring 150. So I had 2 choices. It was either the Bucks on Monday night against the Chiefs or the Colts versus the Vikings on Sunday night. I took the Colts. Joe Flacco, I think the magic is gone there. That was a fun little ride while it lasted, but the Colts are bad, and Flacco's old. So if I had a winning head coach, I would have won by 2 points. If I had Brian Robinson, I probably would have had a better chance, but there was no one on my bench. I got 27 from Daniels, 27 from Pollard. Cooper Kupp, 21. He's back. 11 catches, 104 yards. That's awesome.
That's nice.
Tyreek Hill, only 12 points, 4 catches, 80 yards. But in my continued defense of my trade, so I don't hate myself more than I already do, CeeDee Lamb kind of got banged up this week, and he lost Dak. So Tyreek Hill now has a higher ceiling, I think, than CeeDee Lamb does the rest of the season.
I can see that. You know what I mean? Well, maybe not the rest of the season, but maybe rest of the fantasy season, yeah. because
Yeah.
supposedly Dak's supposed to go on the IR, or he's talking about it, or they're trying to figure it out. So that's tough. And for C to get banged up, the Dallas Cowboys offense is atrocious now. Um, but looking at Tampa Bay here, again the duo, the Ravens, quarterback, running back, dropping another 65 burger. That seems to be death taxes every week. They're going to give you 65 guaranteed points. You know, if that's not a duo for like Super Bowl winning, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if Derrick Henry stays healthy, that's money.
That's one of the greatest fantasy duos I think we'll ever see. Like just this Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry combo on one fantasy team. He should be outlawed. He got a third of his points again.
You know what I mean? I would think like top 3 fantasy duos of all time. It's got to be Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Tom Brady, Randy Moss.
Randy Moss. Yeah, that 1 year.
Yeah, that 1 year.
And that Brady to Moss one was killer because Randy Moss was going at a discount in drafts that year because he was coming off the Raiders debacle. So you didn't know if he was kind of done or not, or if he would adjust to a new team. And then Brady just threw him about 60 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I have some stats here on Henry and Jackson. Henry became the 5th player ever with 100 rushing touchdowns in his first 9 seasons, and the 4th player since 1990 to score in 9 straight games to start a season. He's on pace for a touchdown every game.
And he's capable of doing it.
Yep.
The way the Ravens are playing, they could make it happen. I don't know if they'll face any tough defense that's going to slow them down, really. So, hey, that's what's going on with that. Chuba Hubbard, found the end zone, 72 yards. Carolina's offense was cooking. What do you think about that? With the first round draft pick back, Bryce.
Yeah, they got to play him the rest of the season. His numbers are they're pedestrian. It was 16 to 26, I think 190 and 1 touchdown and 1 pick. You can work with that, and you could let him build off that. There's no reason to throw him away yet, especially on a rookie contract. So, I mean, the odds are still against him becoming a Pro Bowler or anything like that, or justifying being a number 1 pick, but he could at least be a bridge at this point.
I'm gonna give the Panthers their due, because for them to get a win and force New Orleans to fire their head coach because they lost against the Panthers is a big deal. But for Bryce Young, he's in his sophomore year, and he's had a lot of criticism because Stroud played so good his rookie season that it looks so bad. And now this year, Stroud's playing kind of bad, and it's kind of now if he can pair together a couple of good games, just decent. He ain't got to light it up. But
right.
Just, kind of give us a little something. A little 2 touchdowns.
Just show that you're serviceable.
Yeah, serviceable, man. That will, he could go to the 5th year. They'll let him get a 5th year contract in there. Because they'd be like, all right, man, this is we're seeing you do better. Now we need you to explode. So, I mean, because, what's his name? Josh Allen was terrible his first, 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Even T-Law was terrible his first 2 seasons. So, it's good that he's showing something.
I was looking at Jacoby Myers during this game while we were playing, and he's had an interesting season. The first 2 games, week 1 and week 2, he had 7 catches on 8 targets for 90 yards. 15 points, 9 and 6. That's kind of boring. Then he had 21 points in week 3, 9 points in week 4, 13 points in week 5, kind of pedestrian stuff. And then he was hurt for 2 weeks, and the Raiders were really struggling. So it looked like Jacoby Myers might be a wash, but he's been pretty good the last 2 weeks since Adams has been traded. 14 catches, 18 targets, 157 yards, and a touchdown, 35 combined fantasy points. So that's another guy Punishers can now depend on going down this stretch run, and he's already 7-2. I have the Lamar Jackson stat from earlier, 4th time in his career with a perfect 158.3 passer rating. That's a new NFL record, which broke a tie with 4 quarterbacks. My question to you is, can you name the 4 quarterbacks who Lamar Jackson broke the record of perfect passer rating single games? I'll give you a hint. They've all won at least 1 Super Bowl.
Oh, damn. Okay, I was gonna throw Matt Schaub out there. All right, but let's see. Peyton Manning.
Yep.
Tom Brady.
Yep.
And then let's say Drew Brees did it.
Nope.
Oh wow, he would have been my guy. I don't know then.
One guy was played by Chuck in a
Chuck Knobloch?
movie.
Oh, Brett Favre.
Nope. What's his name? The actor's name? Zachary Levi.
Zachary Levi.
The movie American Underdog. It just came out a couple years ago.
No, I did not watch.
He works for the NFL Network. His wife was real weird when he played Brenda.
I don't know who she is.
Kurt Warner.
Is it Kurt Warner? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Zach Levi fan, and he's like gone hardcore right winger now too. It's just like ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Chuck was a good show.
I liked. I didn't watch Chuck, but I liked Shazam 1 was good. Shazam 2 was trash.
I hate superhero movies, and I ended up going to see Shazam because I'll go see a movie in the theater that I wouldn't watch at home just to go to the theater, and I ended up going to see Shazam, and it was decent. The end was a little crappy, but yeah, I knew there was no way I was going to see 2. I was like, I dodged a bullet with the first one. That it was like a likable superhero movie for me. I'm not pushing my luck with this. And then the last one, you got one more. He went to the University of Miami. He was a first-round draft pick. He's an alleged rapist. He wrecked on his motorcycle.
Whoa, quarterback? No, I have no idea.
Big Ben, baby.
Oh, I'm thinking like Miami University. Ah, you're talking about Miami, Ohio.
I said Ohio.
I missed it. Yeah. Wow. He had a perfect passer rating. That's really strange that Big Ben would have it. He throws a lot of bad passes sometimes.
Yeah, he was pretty good. Like, I know that's a dumb thing to say.
He's a volume thrower, you know?
Like, if you look at his career, you're like, oh, shit, okay, that's why he hung around so long. But, yeah, that's it for my game, really. I had a bunch of double digits, but still lost. On to the next game. Smash Hawk continued his winning ways versus Sweetness 34, 165-137. Sweetness 34 has now lost 2 in a row to fall to 3-6. He did enough to win this game, but he gets the douche of the week. He left Amari Cooper in his lineup, who did not play. I'm not sure if he was a late scratch or not, but you can't take a 0 against Smash Hawk, and it's bad enough if it's a self-inflicted 0.
I mean, are you sure he was because it said he was questionable? Maybe he had to look deeper. I guess that's tough.
Yeah, he didn't play. Let me see when he was scratched. Inactive.
He didn't have a pathway to win though, because if you would start somebody else in place of him, even like Roma Dunve, it wouldn't have been enough.
Yeah, that's true. No path to victory. Only 3 points from the Buffalo defense against Miami. Miami always puts up points on Buffalo. Those are always good games.
Wait, he had a path to victory because if you would have started Jake Ferguson and he had Roma Dunve, he would have got it.
Oh yeah, I guess he got Hawkinson back, and he was a little too excited and played Hawkinson. When a guy's coming off a long injury for me, if I can avoid playing him,
wait a game.
Yeah, wait a game. Yeah, that's it. Bijan Robinson was good again. DeAndre Swift, 51 yards, 20 points for the Bears. Devontae Smith, how hurt is he? Is he going to miss this game? Hamstring injury. That's never good for a guy like him.
I think he's playing through his injuries, though. He's just going to, not be as fast as he normally is. But he had an amazing touchdown catch during that game. He had a one-handed catch. But on Smash Hawks team, getting that Tank Dell value, baby, 6 for 126. He held out. So shout out to that on that. Alvin Kamara came up big, 37 points. This was A.J. Brown's quiet game, 2 for 36. So, that's the problem with the Eagles. Yeah, he's got both. They're playing injured out the year, but Jackson Smith Njigma.
Monster game.
180. I think it's high for the week. Out of any wide receiver.
That's the highest of any Seahawk performance this year, I read.
Jeez. So he really came out this week.
13 targets. He had 13 targets the previous 2 weeks combined. 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. So Geno's starting to cook up there, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, Geno is weird because he's hot and he's cold. He'll have a really bad game, but he'll have a really good game like that. So it's interesting.
Smashhawk dodged a poor fantasy special teams performance with his defense, kicker, and head coach, where he got only 1 point from his kicker, who missed a field goal and an extra point. Losing head coach with the Saints debacle against the Panthers. But the Titans defense did okay for him with 18 points.
Like,
He'll take 18 from your defense.
I thought he traded for that kicker. Like, I thought he just brought Dicker in.
He did. Week. We had the rare one-for-one kicker trade this week.
Yeah, I saw. I was like, he brought this kicker in for him to fucking give you 1 point. Oh, hell no.
Yeah, that did not work out for him. Dallas Goedert, a 0 on the bench. Did he even play?
I don't think so. I think the other guy played on the Eagles.
Correct. No,
he did not play because there's on Twitter I saw this thing where like for Halloween he had his girl in like his I guess girlfriend or whatever the hell she is in like one of like baby harnesses. And he was holding her up, whatever. He's like he's out because of a hamstring injury, but he's sitting there like deadlifting his like girlfriend. Like, what are you doing?
Kyren Williams had scored touchdowns in the first 7 games of the season. He has now gone 2 games in a row without a touchdown. He has been over 20 carries 4 games in a row and 5 of 6. So the Rams continue to pound him.
You know, Sean McVay, he has no shame when running his running backs into the ground. He will like run you right into the ground.
Then the last interesting performance in this game for me is Taysom Hill, who he just needed a tight end to fill in for Goddard, so he threw a dart at Taysom Hill. He had a very good game. 4 catches, 5 targets, 41 yards, and a rushing touchdown. 5 carries and 19. The Saints might as well just play Taysom Hill at quarterback at this point. He's probably their best quarterback.
They might as well. He's getting paid like $16 or $17 million. You might as well shoot the man. Damn.
Yeah. Run the Wildcat or something for a couple weeks.
No, let me a straight up traditional. You think you want to be a quarterback? All right, here's your chance.
Yeah, your last. He's older too than you think. He's like 34 or something.
Right, so he needs to figure it out.
Next game, Stealing the Wins versus Lionheart. Both teams are now 3-6. That's not good for them. 153 for Stealing the Wins, 96 for Lionheart. Just Lionheart totally laid an egg here. He got 6 points from Romeo Dobbs, 4 points from Sam Laporta, 2 points from Nakua, who got ejected early. Neither of them played a head coach. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs had a good day for the Lions backfield and for Lionheart, but there's just nothing here for Lionheart. He didn't have a chance.
Yeah, when your offense is pretty much Detroit and Green Bay and they're playing each other, that's not a good situation. So it's just what it is. We've already I don't want to beat a dead horse, but Lionheart is living and dying by the Detroit Lions sword. He started Jared Goff, but Herbert on the bench had 26 points. Just hanging out. He lit up a little bit. So
Laporta's disappointing season continues.
Right. Yeah. It's you got to stick a fork in it now. But Stealing the Wins is probably one of his best scoring outputs he's had all year, for real. With again, we talk about Geno with 3 touchdowns, also had 3 picks, but 363 yards throwing. My man is dealing. Saquon Barkley had probably the football highlight of the year. How you feel about that? How you feel about the highlight there, Billy?
So Saquon Barkley went over 1,000 scrimmage yards for the season. He added that highlight for his eventual Fantasy Hall of Fame induction that you're talking about, where he leapfrogged a defender backwards. Nobody wants to mention, though, that this was actually dangerous and unnecessary and only netted 1 extra yard.
Right,
but
1 extra yard.
It did look cool.
He did it for the highlight reel.
Yeah, it looked cool. Looked cool. You might have tore both hamstrings doing it, but hey, you made SportsCenter.
Aaron Jones continued to put up nice fantasy points for yards rushing, 19 points. Drake London and Kyle Pitts combined for 12 points. They're not playing against Tampa, so this is who they are.
London's hurt now, too.
Yeah, he's hurt, and Kyle Pitts got that cue as well, so Stealing Wins, this team's falling apart kind of fast. Talking about falling apart, Dak Prescott, he's out there. Austin Eckler, 21 points on his bench, hanging out.
Yeah, Eckler is interesting as long as Brian Robinson's out. Eckler 11 carries, 42 yards, and a touchdown, 41 receiving yards as well. He's had a quiet, decent fantasy season. He's had double digits in 6 of 8 games. So, I mean, he's pretty good to have in your flex spot, even though he left him on the bench in this game. Rico Dowdle got 75 yards and a touchdowns for 25 points in the Stealing the Wins flex spot. And that is notable because Ezekiel Elliott got suspended for a game for conduct detrimental to the team. Lionheart dropped him. He said, you've done detrimenting my fantasy team. You're out of here. Have you thought about picking up Ezekiel Elliott at all? Because I briefly considered it today.
He briefly considered bringing up digging up the corpse of Ezekiel Elliott. No, his career's over. You know, we'll probably next year in fantasy when he retires, we'll probably induct him in the Fantasy Hall of Fame because he had a good 2-3 year run. You know what I mean?
Oh, more than that.
Yeah, it's just right now it's sad times. So we've got to let this one rest.
Yeah, we could put him in this year, possibly.
No,
last year Julio Jones.
He's active player. No.
Julio Jones made it as an active player last year.
Active player. Julio Jones is legend. He's a borderline Hall of Fame player. So I can let that one go. Ezekiel Elliott.
Last thing for me in this one is Jalen Waddle, probably one of the most disappointing fantasy players of the year. The 65th ranked receiver. He's had double digits one game this year, and that was in week 1. So he's been a disaster. He had 2 catches, -4 yards, and a touchdown in this game.
That's a hell of a stat line.
It was one of his best games of the year.
You're talking about a guy who last year had over 100 catches, man. So I mean, it's and he's healthy all year. He's not injured. That's how bad Miami is. Like, there's no way if you're Waddle, hey, you want to come back? I want to resign you. No, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? There's no way in hell.
Yeah, no way. Odell Beckham was active this game, so that's interesting to keep an eye on.
Really
I don't think
telling.
he'll do anything.
That's really telling.
Yeah. Next game is the Boy Scout Trombones versus Jordan, 166-119. Jordan is on a 2-game winning streak. Jones is on a 2-game losing streak. Jordan just blew him out. The interesting quarterback matchup, 35 points for Mahomes, 3 touchdowns, 38 points for Jalen Hurts with 3 touchdowns. Ramondre Stevenson, 2 touchdowns, 25 points, but only 16 yards rushing on 10 carries. That is brutal.
Yeah, that's really tough, man. Jeez. He started T. Higgins, who was doubtful to even play. You know what I mean? He could have put up a little more points there with Palmer on the bench. He could have started Palmer and got some good points.
Yeah, he survived the self-inflicted wound. Interesting to see him across from Jamar Chase. The Bengals scored 41 points on the Raiders, but Chase only had 7 catches for 43 yards and 11 points. And Joe Burrow threw 5 touchdowns, but none of them to Chase.
Yeah, that's interesting in his own right there. Am I the right team? Let's see. Yeah. Travis Kelce. Is Travis Kelce back?
Yeah, he's back enough to say he's back. 14 catches. You want to see more than 100 yards? How many targets did he have?
He had like 18 or something.
16. So he's had 28 targets the last 2 weeks. He's not getting very many yards per catch, but yeah, I think you can say he's back, especially at the tight end position.
I would tell you that he's not, because again, the Chiefs are not playing Tampa Bay again this year unless they go to Super Bowl. You know what I mean? We already know what's going on in Tampa, right? In Tampa, what's happening is their other side wide receiver, like their wide receiver at like number 2 is actually a 3 or 4, and they get eaten alive. Then middle of field, their inside linebacker situation is like down to second string, third string as well. So if you run towards them, there's always an opening. He had a lot of like 5-yard catches, 10-yard catches, a lot of those. So that's what made it very interesting. That Monday night game was quite interesting, but Mahomes played a very great game. That was probably his best scoring output this year. For real. And then for him, even if he started like Daniel Jones dropped 32 points with 3 total touchdowns against Washington, which was I didn't see that happening either. But Travis Kelce,
Oh, he's a commander killer.
But him getting 16 targets, he ain't getting 16 targets anywhere else except when he played against Tampa.
Yeah, Jones is a commander killer. Nothing really stands out to me in this game. Chargers defense at 25 points. Does fantasy special teams match up here? 47 to 13.
Even Cortland Sutton, 7 for 122 and a passing touchdown.
Yeah, that's huge because he had a straight up 0 in week 7 where he played the whole game and didn't even get a target, let alone a catch. So, yeah. Chubb got 15 carries, 39 yards. I mean, he only scored 10 points, but you have to be happy to see him like getting the work again.
Right. Chargers defense, they're really good at stopping the run. So that's, if you're facing Chargers and you have to run the ball, it's a bad time.
Jameis was throwing a bunch of picks too, and the Browns just only scored 10. Like, Nick Chubb thrives when the Browns are playing ahead. It's probably just not going to happen very often going forward. 28 points for DeAndre Hopkins on Jones's bench. He needs to start playing him every game now. He's proven that he had Tennessee Titans disease, and he should be pretty good with the Chiefs going forward.
I would play him, but again, I would temper expectation because he's not playing Tampa every week. He's like, and he played against Tampa. He was going against the third string cornerback, so it was barbecue chicken for him. But he had like no speed really. He cut whatever, and he has the best hands in the game still, but nah.
Last thing for me is you could put Michael Pittman in the Jalen Waddle basket of
zone
uber disappointments. Yeah. 2 catches, 10 targets, 28 yards the last 2 weeks.
He would drop pretty decently high for us in our league.
Yeah, 24th overall, and he's the 51st ranked tight end. He's been battling injuries. Next game, New Day Co-op versus Buck. What you said, you're a monster. 5-game winning streak. You were in contention for high points, second highest of the week. 6-3. New Day is in the same boat I'm in, where he's just getting massive points against every week. So he has a good team. He's just getting poor matchups at the wrong time. Well, yeah. You see anything in your game? I mean, you lit it up. Garrett Wilson had an incredible catch on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson had an incredible catch. I text Billy like mid-afternoon. I was like scared of like starting Baker against Kansas City, so I was like, I'm gonna start Sam Darnold. Then I like chickened out. I was like, no. If I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose with Baker because Baker is second most fantasy points as a quarterback this year. So if I'm gonna lose, I'm just gonna lose, and that's fine. Darnold proved to be a little more effective, 3 points more effective. Things I'll highlight though is Mark Andrews laying a dud, 2 for 26.
On the bench though.
Yeah, on the bench. Tillman on my bench there, 6 for 75. He's a player. He's becoming a player for them, for the Cleveland Browns. That's good. He looks good. Rashard White had kind of a quiet game with 11 points. Cade Otton, though, for Tampa Bay, he's a top 3 fantasy tight end this year, which is crazy because if you listen to the people that know things, they're like, oh, Tampa Bay needs to upgrade the tight end position. Get rid of this guy. He's not good. And it's like, yeah, he's actually pretty good. He plays with no gloves on. He catches the ball with his bare hands. So he just, he's kind of one of them guys. But everything else, I also really surprised by Dobbins' output there. 85 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, your backfield was great. What is that? 46 points between Kareem Hunt and Dobbins. Kareem Hunt, did he almost not play Monday night? Did he enter the game late?
Not that I know of. He played all the game. It was more of a grinder. He made all those yards literally in third going to fourth quarter. Like the Chiefs started raining hard, and he started grinding it out.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt for you has been great since you picked him up. I mean, you're getting first round production from Kareem Hunt and J.K. Dobbins, and you took
I
Dobbins
picked up Dobbins late.
119th. Yeah, if you had a good week, Rashard White got you 11 points quietly, 19 yards and a touchdown. Just poor New Day. You're looking at his lineup, just eating a loss like that sucks. Brees Hall, 16 points. Josh Jacobs, 16 points. Kirk Cousins, 3 touchdowns, 27 points. Zay Flowers, 5 catches, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns, 29 points. He's probably going to benefit from the Deontay Johnson addition in the way that the 2 Bills young receivers benefited from the Amari Cooper addition.
That's true. That's true. He was at New England, 8 points. His kicker, Atlanta kicker, only had 3 extra points. Usually gives a little more points than that. Kirk Cousins had a pedestrian game, 3 touchdowns though for 27 points against Dallas. So it's his bench, not a lot happening on the bench there. I'm not sure why he still has Denver's defense after they're giving up a lot of points. But he has Nico Collins coming back soon. Maybe not this week, but maybe the week after.
Yeah, that's big because he's been playing Christian Watson the last couple of weeks, and he's terrible. Huge disappointing from him. I took him thinking he could break out, and he's 77th ranked receiver. But
It's
you see
really
anything
bad,
else for
yeah.
you? Good win for
No,
you.
that's really it. You know what I mean? Yeah, solid win. Still trying to work my way up.
You think Tillman's going to crack your starting lineup? He's earned it.
Tillman this week coming up might just it because I think I'm starting him over Ridley.
Yeah, Ridley has put together a couple nice games because he was droppable 2 weeks ago.
No, I think next week Tillman, the Browns are on a bye, so I can't even start Tillman. But I mean,
That
after that, I
figures.
could probably try to figure it out. Right, of course it is. I can figure something out.
Oh, Trey McBride finally scored a touchdown, but it was rushing.
It was a rushing one.
So he still hasn't
Right.
caught a touchdown.
You know what I mean? And that's
Next
whole.
game.
Speaking of games, though, the Arizona Cardinals are just an enigma because I don't understand how they would just they shut down the Chicago Bears offense, leaving the 3 field goals. Like, what is this?
I wanted to kick myself for not playing the Cardinals head coach. I should have known. Bears traveling cross country after a demoralizing loss against a tough Cardinals team. I needed a head. I would have won my game with a head coach, and that was one I should have picked up. Next game, MVP. He gets the 40 high fives, 194 to 99. Dead money is just dead in the water. Let's see if this finally took away his playoff chances. He is 2-7, and he has a 2% playoff chance, so he's still alive technically.
Okay, all right, not eliminated yet, but yeah, MVP, already lapped father something, 194 points. Jeez, he had that score early too. Joe Burrow, 5 touchdowns. Mixon considers to be the best fantasy running back this year, next to Derrick Henry. Really, I would put him number A1 because A2 he'd be A2 because I did not see him doing that. You know what I mean? I thought he was done. He's rewinding the clock back to like 2019. This is what it feels like.
Yeah, this is one of the best seasons of his career, and he's probably helped out that Stroud is struggling, and they have multiple receivers who are injured, so they have to rely on him even more. He's really like the engine of that Texans offense, and I don't think it was supposed to be like that.
He has Chase. Was it Chase Brown, Cincinnati Bengals running back? He's
Huge
emerging
game.
as a player. So much to the fact that I think somebody in our league dropped Moss because they were like, I'm tired of having him on my squad because he's not making points.
Yeah, he's hurt. He's probably done for the year, and the Bengals just traded for Khalil Herbert from the Bears to make sure they don't run
Okay.
Brown into the ground. Yeah, Brown,
Um,
120 yards and a touchdown, 27 carries. That's too many.
Cole Kmet 0 points though. What's up with that?
Yeah, that's not good. George Kittle
Dead
was on a
money.
bye, so he had to play Komet.
Yeah, the San Francisco's on a bye, so that there. They got Tampa next week, so if you think them 40 high fives are pretty good this week, they're gonna be sweeter next week. Um, so, yeah, there's gonna be some high points from that too. Dead money though, Kyle Murray. I think I'm done with him.
Call of
he needs
Duty
to start
came out. It's probably not a coincidence that he only scored 6 points.
he needs to start Matthew Stafford from this day on. Like it's just I wouldn't trust him at all. Like you said, CeeDee Lamb's banged up, so it's gonna be bad times. Chris Olave is like went to the hospital and everything else, whatever. So he doesn't have him either.
Derek Carr should be charged with attempted murder for that pass he threw to Chris Olave.
So who's all right, Matt? Before I say this, A Chains 35 points though. You know that guy.
It hurts.
It hurts. I know it hurts. That's tough.
But if CeeDee Lamb's going to be banged up without Dak, I still think the trade is okay. Like if Pollard's going to get me 25 every week and A-Chain's going to get 35, but now you have a corpse of CeeDee Lamb running around and Tyreek Hill potentially could break out. I haven't given up. Tua's back, you know.
You know, take it that his points of 99 points, 3 of them came from his fantasy special teams. Well, sorry, that's sad, but it's true.
Yeah, 30 from his special teams and 35 from Achane, and that's basically his entire week. He had Dalton Schultz did nothing. Roschon Johnson did nothing, 13 yards, 3 points. I mean, there's nothing on his bench.
Marvin Harrison Jr., 3 points. Who was a bigger disappointment, Marvin Harrison Jr. or Waddle this year?
Waddle for sure. If you look at Harrison, he's had a couple good games in there, but yeah, I don't like taking rookies, and this is why. I try and take like second and third year players most of the time. Which
he's a can't miss rookie though. He's can't miss. He's gonna be the stud. He has the pedigree. He's the guy.
But you have to overdraft guys like that, pedigree studs. Like at 23, that's too high. I got Brock Bowers at who knows where in like the 9th round.
That is true. And he's a tight end.
So basically, what I'm saying, I'm not opposed to taking rookies, but I'm not going to pay a premium for them. Is what I'm saying, I guess.
I understand. That makes sense.
But yeah, that's it for Dead Bunny. I'm going to start calling him Dud Money. He sucks.
Fair.
Final game of the week: Renegades of Funk, 2-game winning streak. Mile High Salute is now 4-5 on a 2-game losing streak, 134 to 120. The aforementioned Derek Carr made the start for Funk, 236 and a touchdown, 18 points. This was a low quarterback game because Jordan Love only got 14 points, failed to throw for a touchdown as well. Javonte Williams, 14 points. Tyrone Tracy Jr., that was the most I got to see him play. I like the way he runs the ball because the Giants played the Commanders this week. So he might be somebody to watch in next year's drafts for the Giants if they can get their shit together, even just a little bit at the quarterback position.
Right.
Because with Neighbors and Tracy, I think they got something to build on.
That makes sense. Yeah, definitely. You know, Evan Ingram, 5 for 45. It's pretty simple. Pretty pedestrian game from there. His bench, he had Mooney on the bench, 5 for 88 with a touchdown when he did a little pick play. And homeboy got lost in Dallas, whatever, and he had a nice walk-in touchdown. Bounced the Renegades of Funk there. Miles Salute, 120. So, Jordan Love. Are we sounding the alarm on Jordan Love here, man?
From a fantasy perspective, absolutely. Reality perspective, like, if you're a Packers fan, maybe you can panic. But I still think he's talented. But, yeah, it's a fair question for sure.
Because he has his backup quarterback. He has Malik Willis on his bench. Like, what are we doing? Are you handcuffing your quarterback?
He handcuffed his quarterback because Willis played earlier this year and got 30 points. And he's a running threat. He had 6 carries for 73 yards in that game and a touchdown. The week before that, he had 6 carries for 41 games. So, yeah, we got the rare quarterback handcuff on Mile High Salute.
You ain't lying, Rare, because I'm like, for real? That's happening? But my Jonathan Taylor, 12 points. Cook with 15 points. The Ray Davis got loose for the Bills with that long run for a touchdown on a receiving catch. So he ate up a lot of that. Jordan Reed, 5 for 113. Ray McLeod, I guess he shot him he started him on a whim there, 3 for 28 yards and a touchdown. So good luck with that. Mike Gesicki, man. Yo, let's give him a hand clap. My man, 5 for 100.
Off the top rope.
Yeah, off top rope with 2 touchdowns, man. Mike been around for a long time, and he deserved a little bit in the sunlight there.
It's the first time in Jasecki's career he had multiple scores and 100 yards or more. I had pegged him for a I don't want to say a breakout, but like a very low cost serviceable tight end. It didn't play out that way, but Brandon definitely benefited from his performance this week. The last 2 weeks, 12 catches, 14 targets, 173 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Jasecki. So, I mean, he'll at least find a spot on his bench for a little while. He's up 20% on rosters this week. So I wasn't totally wrong where I thought he would have a nice season with the Bengals. To Funk real quick, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the 7th ranked receiver. He has scored touchdowns every week since week 3. And Devontae Adams finally had a good game for the Jets. 22.7 catches, 11 targets, 91 and a touchdown. So he might be getting comfortable there. But yeah, this game was pretty quiet. I guess if you're Brandon, you're just happy Jonathan Taylor even played. At this point, you're just celebrating his health.
Right, exactly.
So you got a player of the week?
So my player of the week here, let's see. It would be easy to say player of the week. No, I already said him before. So the person I was gonna pick. Let's go Cortland Sutton, man. So with 25 points, seven catches, 122, and a pass touchdown, a man who had 0 points last week definitely went to Sean Payton and said, "Make me part of the offense." And he said, "You want to throw the ball? Let's throw it."
Yeah, that's a good one. That was the only touchdown the Broncos scored in a 41-10 beatdown by the Ravens. Yeah, big win for Jordan, who scored 166. That's a good one. I didn't think of him. Mine is Joe Burrow. His game wasn't close, where he scored 194 against dead money. But to me, he was the clear difference. Burrow, 5 touchdowns, 44 points. Spawn's opponent, dead money, only scored 99 points. And Burrow pretty much got half of that by himself.
That is true.
So that's my player of the week. And then it's up to you for the Fantasy Hall of Famer this week.
All right, so my Fantasy Hall of Famer this week. So then my pick for fantasy, I'm really gonna start keying in on guys that had really good fantasy years, not just whole careers itself, because there's a lot of players like that, and it's pretty dynamic like that. So I'm going for the guy that backed up Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, first round draft pick, 2003. He was a first round pick, number 27. He played for the Chiefs from 2023 to 09. Then he played for the Bengals, Washington Redskins, and Miami Dolphins. But he did not really play with them when I show you the stats. He was first team All-Pro in 2006, second team All-Pro in 2005, and a 2-time Pro Bowler those both years. In college football, though, he was considered the best running back. He had the Jim Brown Award, the Doak Walker, the Walter Camp Award, the Maxwell Award. So he was an absolute monster, and he has an NFL record 416 rushing attempts in a single season. His rushing touchdowns is 55 and 6,000 yards rushing for his career, and 1,300 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns receiving. So those aren't impressive stats. But what we want to look at, though, his fantasy years. So he was extremely fantasy relevant in 2005, 6, and 7. Let's talk about it. In 2005, he played 16 games. He started 9 of them, and he had 300 yards. He had 1,700 yards rushing at 5.2 a clip and 20 touchdowns rushing, which is crazy. And then in 2006, he started all 16. The coach at the time of Kansas City, I think it might have been Dick Vermeil, and he just ran him into the ground. He said, "I'm going to run you into the ground." 416 yards rushing, 416 attempts is crazy, and he rushed for 1,789 with 17 touchdowns. So in the 2-year clip, he had 37 touchdowns, and he had over close to 3,500 yards rushing. But then after that, you could tell the injury bug really caught up there. He got banged up. I remember we were drafting, and after he had that really monstered season, then he was like one of our first picks, whatever. But he never
Mm-hmm.
panned out, and like from 2007 to 2011, he had less than 500 yards rushing for real. It just his body gave up on him. But hey, fantasy wise for that 2 seasons, he was a god. Larry Johnson, we
Yeah,
salute you.
he's the first Penn State player inducted into the Fantasy Hall of Fame. Yeah, I like the idea of giving guys who shine brightly and burned out fast run. Those are league winners. Larry Johnson definitely won guys leagues just based off his 2 seasons in 05 and 06 alone. But he broke a lot of hearts in 07. Me and Brindle were one of them. We were in the auction draft of his work league, and we got outbid. I think it was on Brian Westbrook. We went in the draft like, we're getting Brian Westbrook, and it was an auction, so the price got too steep, and he was just like, let's get Larry Johnson, and he sunk our ship. But yeah, if you would have asked me how long his peak was, I would have guessed. If you would have said over or under 2 years, how long was Larry Johnson's peak? I would have guessed over. That's crazy looking at these stats. Yeah, he's very memorable for.
Man, yeah, I was like, man, because I remember he had some memorable game. Like he playing at some team. It was like muddy outside. It was in Kansas City. It was really muddy, and he kept grinding. They kept like handing the ball to him, and he was just breaking, and he was just scoring points on people. Um, so that's why my memory of Larry Johnson is. Everything else is just not there. But yeah, I'm gonna start trying to really key in on fantasy players that were just like we knew he was amazing for this one season, and you know what? You gave them that fantasy win, bro. You're in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
Yeah, first round pick, 27th overall by the Chiefs out of Penn State. Hats off, Larry Johnson. I guess that's it. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you. See you all later.
Yeah, good luck this week.